Hi, Georgie.
Hi.
How's it going?
Yeah, good. How's it going with you?
Very, very good. Yeah. How's your Monday?
Busy. Monday's always very, very, very busy. Get into the office. We're also sending out a lot of deliveries today, about 280 boxes.
Okay, nice. To who?
To all of you lot, because we're doing a little pop-up cafe for our 15th birthday.
Amazing. Well, look, for the sake of everyone watching that doesn't know you, which is going to be only a few people because you're very popular. Who are you and what do you do?
So I am Georgie. I set up a little communication, well, not so little anymore, but I set up a little communication agency called Katch International 15 years ago. So, yeah.
And still going strong.
Well, it's going very strong. So we opened in Riyadh about 2 years ago, but really got going this year, which has been great. We have an office of 52 people in Dubai. It still scares me when I say that. I'm like, how has that actually happened? And then London, we have a really nice little remote office. So
how is it managing a team of that size?
Difficult.
Yeah.
Someone said to me once, like, what's the hardest thing about having a company? And I was like, people. And then they said, what's the best thing about having a company? And I said, people. Like, you never know what you're going to get. Someone might come in a bad mood. Someone might come in and just come out with the best idea that you hadn't had thought about for your client. So, yeah, it's every day is different.
I think that because you're very, very hospitality based, I think hospitality people always connect with the wonders of people.
Yes.
Which is, I've often said to lots of people, I love the fact that I do it 30 years in all different shapes and sizes and positions, and I still can't tell people what's going to happen today. Do you know what I mean?
I've always said in hospitality that the marketing team is normally okay, but obviously back in the day we met operations marketing. I always find that operations people take a long time to warm up to the marketing team. Wouldn't you say?
Well,
You'd never like us at the beginning. You're like, how are you going to change my menu? What are you going to do now? You know, that kind of thing.
Do you know what I think it is? I think that there are two things happening that both parties don't understand what the other party is going through. And the way, as I kind of moved up, I'd say the ranks where you go from having to respond to the marketing team to then start working with the marketing team to then actually directing and hiring a marketing team and everything like this and the operations team, is that I kind of tried to create, I suppose, a very, very positive, healthy culture of don't let the other one win.
Yeah, I would say a lot of people do that though. So,
am I wrong? Tell me.
I think the problem is the operations team come in and you have this set P&L, and it's like, I'm going to base it on breakfast, lunch and dinner, and I'm going to have 3 sets of dinner, and this is what's going to happen at lunchtime. And we're just not realistic to when a hotel is opening or a restaurant is opening. Our job is to tell your story. So I'm really happy you've got this amazing menu, but I need to communicate in a very, very quick way, what is that menu or what is that selling point or how to do it. But an operations person will come in and want me to communicate all 30 items that are on your starters, and I can't do that. So we do have to always find a middle ground, but it takes time. It takes a lot of time, and then we get there.
I think that, we were outside like 5 minutes ago. I told you what's going to happen. That we're now talking about something that we didn't think we were going to talk about.
Which we didn't think we were going to talk about.
But
Georgian hospitality.
But I think that. But you know what? I think a lot of so on the side of the marketing team, I don't think the ops team ever really get it. I really, really don't. I don't think owners get it. I don't think anyone gets it. I think that what is expected is that all of a sudden we employ people in marketing, and then next week the restaurant's full. Yeah. And I actually think it's getting worse and worse and worse. The impatience for marketing to somehow, fill your space. That's not what's happening. Marketing are there, like you say, to tell the story, put it out there. And this is why I talk about that don't let the other one win, which is when everyone's back's against the wall, because no one can control what's going to happen. Everyone hopes you're going to get busy, and then you see what happens. But then ops will attack the marketing team and go, well, we're empty because the marketing's really, really bad. You know that, I know that, it happens, you know. But their marketing can turn around and say, well, look at all your reviews. Your service is terrible, you know, like no one's coming. Why would we put people in there? Well, I've seen all this, you know. So I kind of say, you work hard to make sure that when they come through the door, it's amazing. And then you work hard to make sure that you are actually communicating effectively.
Well, exactly. And there's always a blame culture, isn't there?
100%.
Let's be really honest. In 15 years of being here, how many times have we watched a hotel open with their own in-house marketing team, and we've been the agency, and sadly a lot of that marketing team have been removed very quickly. I have been known back in the day to go to a meeting room to sit and have a meeting with the marketing team to find out they have all been let go that day, and been like, who is our client? What are we doing? So I do think you know, from the people who own the land through to the operators, there is always a little bit of a tug of war, I would say, in what people want to do. And I think as long as you understand that, for me, I really try and instill in my team when it comes to independent, when you've seen an independent, you know, remortgage their house and really believe in something, we have to remember this is their baby, and we have to answer those emails, and we have to do the best that we absolutely can. And we do that with every client. But when it comes to the independent, you have got to hold their hand a little bit more, because you are going to have the freak out. It's really funny, actually. I used to work in the fashion industry, and just when we were doing a fashion show, we would always have the fashion designer backstage at London Fashion Week freak out just before the show starts, shouting, the poor intern dressers and whatever. Like, I remember even when I was an intern being like literally a designer coming up and pulling the outfit off and being like, I don't want this going down the catwalk. And I was like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. And it's the same as someone whose baby it is. If it's their company, and especially when you haven't got the machine of the operators, and you know, it doesn't come down to that. They'll still eat at night if it doesn't go well. But when it's an independent, they freak out. Like 2 days before, we start getting quite a lot of emails, quite a lot of emotion. And then obviously it goes well, we open, and then they're calm and we go on a lovely journey together. But my goodness me, it's the same across anything you do in marketing. When it comes down to a really independent person, it is their baby and they suddenly get very panicky.
Do you know, I think that one question I think anybody that does marketing wants me to ask you is, how do you deal with, let's say, potential clients that call you up, bring you in, and then just tell you what they want you to do, but they don't know what they're talking about, which I think happens a lot, where they're saying, no, I need you to do this, so it needs to be on fire, and it needs to go there, and it has to be there, and I want you to shoot it from this angle. And it's like, well, hang on, why am I here? Like, you brought me into, you know, how do you deal with people like that?
Tell them, like, you've hired me for your expertise. Oh, sorry, for my expertise.
Yeah.
So you've hired me for my expertise, but you now want to tell me what to do? Like, go hire someone else then. It doesn't make any sense. Look, I can only do the best that I can do from the knowledge that I have. It's like right now, it is all about know your audience in everything you do, especially as, you know, Saudi is opening up, even Qatar, Kuwait, Oman. Everyone's got a different audience. And, you know, when you're talking to I had the same conversation with someone the other day. Even here, we have 200 nationalities in the UAE. It is not talking to one person in the same way. So if that client is not willing to do that, their brand's not going to work. So, and I'm only as good as the last client that I've looked after. I have that massive saying with my team. You're only as good as the last client you looked after, because let's be honest, small industry here. If someone's going out saying that agency is rubbish, I'm losing work, and I'm not going to have that. So I'd rather not look after that client if they don't want to listen to the strategy.
How do they take your direct way of communicating, or downright bluntness, if you don't mind me saying so? I
would say in 15 years, I haven't changed. And that's what I've tried so hard, because obviously when you come to the UAE, you could really change. I don't know if you know this, but when we launched Katch, we took the mick a bit. So we did a no air kissing party to launch Katch. And we had awesome. We had an Eddie and a Patsy lookalike on the front of the carpet. And we had them say, don't go in there, because that's an agency that does some work. So I've always come into something and tried to do it a bit different. And I think actually that's what's grown us by reputation. And, you know, the one thing, like I remember someone saying to me, don't say the word family, it's so cliche, but Katch is a family. It was started because of a family and it is a family. I care about every single one of those staff. If someone leaves, I'm proud of them for where they go next. Like I had a director leave and I was gutted when she went, and we both know who I'm talking about. But I am so proud of where she's gone next. And that's it. It doesn't matter if it was good or bad or ugly when it came to some of the times, but I am so proud of where she went. I've got a girl who started as an intern in London who now works in Hong Kong and is heading up a huge department. Like when I watch these staff go on their journey, I'm so proud of them. And I'm so glad that Katch has been part of that journey.
Yeah, I kind of have this rule I always have a rule to people that want to leave. I'm always like, if you're leaving to get promoted and I can't do that for you, fantastic. Because it means that when you've been with me, you've grown your skills to feel that you could get more and I can't give you more. So off you go. And I should be happy. And it's really nice to hear that you're like a big fan of when your sort of team go, I'm off to do more, and they get that, and you don't feel all resentment and bitter. Because I know people that run companies, right, here in the UAE that get really, really annoyed with that.
Yeah.
And they take it really badly, and they kind of go on a mission to use their contacts to do like a little, I won't name any names, chuck a little bit of slander here and there. And it's like, I find that to be quite, I don't know, it's wrong, you know?
So my whole life has been ups and downs. And at certain times in my life, I was like, this is the worst thing that could have ever happened to me. And now I look back at it and go, that was the best thing that ever happened to me. And I've been fired quite a lot in my life. And I've had a few ups and downs. And I've had a few moments where I'm like, Mum, I'm changing universities. But if I hadn't have done that, I wouldn't be where I am today. So I look at even when I've had to let someone go, I'm like, this is sad. But you know what? If I hadn't have been fired and I hadn't gone through what I went through, I wouldn't have changed complete career paths and ended up where I am today. So that's how I look at it.
What was one of the earliest examples of what you've just said? And it's because anyone that watches the podcast sort of historically knows I do like to sort of delve into the past a bit. But it's like, what was one of the first like most shaping moments that at the time was horrendous that then became, oh yeah, that actually did me a favour?
Oh, I was working for a sales company, and I to be honest, I'd left uni. I just lost my sister. I just wanted to go straight to work. I just wanted I just wanted to be done with university and go to work. So I did. And I was working for a company called, I think it was called Blendon Communications. And originally I was supposed to be selling advertising for, I think it was a Spanish magazine, which basically got discontinued. So when I started the job, I started on a whole new magazine. And we had a boss who would like literally like take our chairs away to like make us sell and do all of these things. But I was actually quite good at it, but I was a bit cheeky. I'd always leave the last minute sales to the end of the month where you get more of a bonus. So I'd always I'd have like these 10 jobs that I could sell in and get them right last minute so I could get all the bonuses and the days off and all of that stuff. Anyway, my boss and I had a few words, and I didn't like the strategy the editorial team was putting forward for the magazine to the piece that we had to sell on the sales team. So I basically got let go. And it was one of those things where, you know how you see in a movie where you get put into a room? So I come in, got my coffee. It's quite early in the morning. We used to start 8 o'clock in the morning. I had to get training. I was staying at my parents', so I came up from Ashton, which was miles. Got up there, got pulled into a room. I was like, oh, I'm going to go get promoted. And they were like, and I was supposed to be getting on a plane that night to go to Ireland for a conference with my boss. So I even had my suitcase, which, I mean, talk about embarrassing. So we're on the suitcase in like, oh, what's happening here? And there's HRs in there and they're like, we're going to let you go. And I was like, oh dear, that's not good. But it transformed my career.
What reason did they give? Did they give the real reason, or did
I wasn't very them. I wasn't. I've always had this approach that if I see something and I don't think it works, I think we should try a different route. And they were very straight down the line. I think my boss wasn't expecting this 21-year-old girl to come into his team and kind of mix things up as much as I probably did. But you know what? It was it was one of those moments where I don't look back now and go, oh, that was awful. It wasn't awful at the time. I think I cried when I got in the black taxi because I had to get a black taxi. I couldn't even get the train because of the fact I had my suitcase to Waterloo Station. And I was kind of in shock. I remember being like, what's just happened? How am I going to tell people? Like, you know, I'm supposed to be in Ireland tonight. I'm going to go home and my mum's going to be like, why are you back? But, you know, it was the best thing. And then I called up my friend who was in, I don't know if you remember him, but he was in the industry in London, and he worked with a lot of like clubs and things like and restaurants. And he had asked me to be his PA, and I was like, oh, I don't know if I want to do this. And then it was kind of like, actually, I will do that. And then the rest is history. If I hadn't have gone and been his PA, I would have then fell into PR, and I ended up working with celebrities and doing all of those things. So actually, that moment was the best moment. Not the proudest of my moments. I probably could have done a better job. But yeah.
When you say mix things up, what did that look like? And for context, it's like, I think there's different people in this world who, from the word go, maybe in life, career, whatever, can't keep their opinions to themselves, nor should they. I've been a kind of person like this, that from the moment I became a manager of the very first restaurant I worked in, I just go to manager. I had no idea who I was talking to in the way of just saying, well, that's how I think it should be. And then people go, you can say that. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're going to get in real trouble. I mean, one time I did it really badly, and I won't go into that. But it's like, is that what it was like for you, where you're speaking your mind, thinking you're like contributing properly? What's actually happening is you're rubbing everyone up the wrong way, you know?
I remember once having a boss, and he said, sometimes when you open your mouth, all I can hear is noise. And I was like, that's the rudest thing I've ever heard anyone say. But it's true. Like, there were times I think I was just talking for the sake of talking because I thought that was what was going to get through. And actually, when it came to this first job, we were put in a graduate room for recruitment, and there was like 35 of us. And the first thing they do is they put you around a table and they say, does anyone have any questions? And 3 of us asked questions, and we got shortlisted for the position. Yeah. The rest of them got kicked out like X Factor. See you later, really, really quickly. So I kind of learned from there that you've got to stand up and talk quite quickly if you want to get anywhere. Yeah. The only problem is I got a massive stage fright and hate standing up and talking. But I have learned that that's the way to do it. I just look. Everything I do, my brain works in a certain way. I can pick up an idea quite quickly. I can do certain things, and if it just doesn't feel right, I pivot. Like, if anyone asks what do I do for a living, I fix stuff. Like, someone will bring me a problem, and I will fix it. In every single way. When COVID happened, we excelled. Do you know why? Because I had to fix everything. I had 92% of business go on hold here. So we pivoted as much. I had an art gallery in London. I pivoted them to online. We literally, we launched Neat Burger. We had a huge delivery piece going on. So we started looking at customer experience and packaging, and we literally went for it. I got the team over here training in things that they'd never trained in before, because I was like, if I'm going to pay you, I want you to like be properly trained. And then they got trained, and then they all left, which was great. But you know, there's COVID for you. But it's one of those things where, yeah, I'm a fixer. I fix things, and if I can't fix things, it really frustrates me.
Do you thrive on problems? The bigger the problem, the more you find your energy goes up, your focus and your attention goes up. Is that so? Have you been guilty maybe in the past of like it's biting off more than you can chew?
I somehow managed to do it all. People are always like, how do you do it, George? And I'm like, I don't know, but I somehow managed to do it all. But there is something about in those pressured situations, I suddenly find this superpower where I can do a lot more than most people. And I just have a ridiculous amount of energy. I'm dyslexic, right? So my brain anyway can do about 7 different things in a day, which was why Katch was perfect for me. Because me working in a sales job and just selling advertising space for one magazine was boring. Me being a PA for a guy who had loads of different restaurants was great, because I was jumping on so many different subjects. But over some of my career moves was definitely very, very boring. And I could feel myself. I became complacent. And so the one thing I love about this is I'm always doing something or being challenged or having to come up with something. I'll give you an example. Like, I will get given something and they'll say, you haven't got experience in it. I'm like, no, I haven't. So it was the crypto world. They were launching an NFT crypto event. I went off and did a crash course in crypto, me and one of the girls in the team, and like, ask us anything now. Like, don't ask me everything about what's going on now, but I really understood. And the first thing I understood about the crypto world is it's complicated. Let's simplify the language and let's go for it. So we did. And that's how we ended up getting global press for this piece, because I was like, why do we have to use these abbreviations and do whatever? Like, okay, fine, for the crypto press, that's fine. But for the actual other press, it's not. And I kind of look at any client that comes in like that, like what's your selling point? How do we do it? I'm working so much in the longevity and wellness space now. And it's all about data. Because let's be honest, if we had a building, right, and it's got crystals through the middle of it, and the main guy wanted to be in all of these amazing publications, which is fine, but how do you get that into something like Forbes? We went off and did our research. We went off and understood the science and how crystals can help a building and what results it's got scientifically around the world, and we used that data, and then we got that piece into Forbes. And that's the whole thing. It's like, what's the problem? How do I get to the solution? How do I get the result that the client wants? Now, don't get me wrong. If you wanted to be on the front page of Vogue, I can't do that.
Yeah.
But at least, we can start. But it was simplifying the messaging. They'd had quite a few agencies before. And the first thing was, how do we simplify this messaging? This is such a complicated product that we're selling. And that's normally what marketing comes down to. Who's your audience? What are they picking up?
And Katch has been going for how long? 15 years?
15 years.
And so you've worked a lot.
I've been a little hamster on a wheel going round.
And how is that, like, sort of, I don't want to use the term taken its toll, but I think I've just used it. But it's like, how does that, so, because like I say, everyone wants their own business, everyone wants to work hard, everyone's building up. And of course, there's so much noise around owning your own business. And you can watch 1,000,000,001 YouTube mentors that are telling you all these fantastic things about your morning routine and this and everything else. But how is being at the forefront of a company where you've grown it, 52 staff, different countries, COVID, everything, how has that like impacted you over the years?
I think I thought I was winging it 15 years ago, if I'd be honest. And I got a business coach, and they made me write down who Georgie was when she was 26, when she set up the agency. I'm now letting you know my age. And then they got me to write down who I am now. And my identity has completely changed. And I think you don't realise what you've got until you stop. COVID made me do it. I realised who I was, wow, what have I achieved, and what I could lose. And I think it does take a toll. And I have had, as I said, I'm dyslexic. So dyslexia means you can get quite a lot of burnout because you go quite fast. So a couple of years ago, I got really bad burnout. And actually, I took the summer off. So I actually took a month off and just really, I went to LA with my friend and had a really nice time. This time around, I just had a really shitty health scare. Sorry, excuse my language.
It's okay.
And the way to basically, so silly, but NHS is, it was in the UK, and NHS is great, but it's textbook. They're so inundated with everything. And again, I needed to fix this problem. And now I want to fix it. Now I'm going to build a dedicated website, and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that because I just want to help other people from what's happened. I got a call basically saying, you've done this blood test and it indicates that you could have ovarian cancer. And it was one of those moments where I was like, wow, I don't know what to say here. And my sister's brilliant. My little sister she is so pragmatic. She was like, no, we're not going to believe any of this until, we've got some proper answer. And then I had to go in an MRI machine for I think it was 45 minutes, and I was lying there and I was like, I hate this. There's noise. I don't like sitting still.
Incredibly claustrophobic.
Yeah. And so I kind of went inside myself, and that's when I thought, where I've been to where I am now to what I want. And it's almost like that moment I had I don't know, something changed in me, which is like, I'm done with fear. It sounds really weird. Like, I am done with fear. I don't want to be fearful anymore. And I think I've been so scared because what comes up goes down, especially in the Middle East. And I've had some, I'm sure you've known me for a long time. I have been attacked, very much so, by a lot of people for being a female-owning agency, which we're not, looking after the wrong type of clients. We have made some mistakes on the way, which we all know. But I really did feel like I got quite penalised. And you know, there's certain groups on Facebook and whatever, and they really have attacked in the past, and they haven't got a clue what's going on at home or how much you're juggling or why you're doing this. They've just really gone for it. And I think I became quite fearful from that.
How are you being attacked if you don't, like a short example, if you don't mind me asking?
We looked after a client once, and to be honest, we were looking after another client which was associated to a client, and that client had a reputation in the industry. And therefore the personal kind of attack came on us for being part of that representation. But I mean, there's so many things all the time. We did a campaign years ago. I have to be really careful because I don't want to get sued. But someone took we have a brand, as you all know, and what our name is, and someone else launched a brand with a very similar name. And so I'm going to be very careful. And I didn't want to attack or do anything, but I did want to say we're going strong. So we basically repeated the Nike campaign, and some people thought it was really bad that we did it, but for us it was making a point. Like, you know how everyone had taken the meme and done the Lindsay Lohan, it definitely wasn't going down that route. But I just wanted to make the point of, like, I worked so hard to get here. The name is my older sister's name. But I called her, so her name was Catherine, I called it Katch. And I've been on so many journeys, I've been on so many fights, and I didn't want to do anything public or whatever in that sense, or say anything, but I just wanted to remind people that we Katch, and like we've done this, and this is what we've achieved, and we're still here and we're still going. And don't get me wrong, you know, how many restaurants open a certain event and it's called this and someone else does this, but you know, so I was sat with a chef about 3 months ago, and they launched a concept in London, and someone else has launched the same concept over here. And they said, what should we do? And I said, just do it better. That's it. Like, you don't need to draw attention to it. You don't need to sue. Just do it better, and it will work out. And that's all I tried to do.
But do you know what? I'm totally on your side, because as you said earlier on, when you were talking about dealing with potential clients who are independents, you're independent.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, you're not corporate. You have a lot of staff. You have a lot of contracts.
I have no investors. I've done this on my own.
Exactly, but you're not like 20,000 employees and you're floated on the stock exchange and everything like this.
It'd be nice to do that one day.
I'm sure it would. Yeah, I don't know.
I'd really
you'd probably bring in way more opinions than you need. But it's like, as you were saying, you have to respect the fact with an independent that that's their baby, and Katch is incredibly personal to you. So I get it. Like, if you think, if you think that you're going to be able to, you know, name something and do that shitty thing that a few people have done that I know do it, where they'll do something where the name's very similar. So if you say, oh, is it that one? Do you know what I mean? Would you, you'll search mine by mistake. Oh, hi. Oh, I thought you were the, no, it's fine.
Yeah.
What do you want? Yeah, it's very shitty. It's very snaky, you know.
It was very sad, and it really upset me.
Yeah, sad's a really good word, yeah.
But we just went for it, and we've carried on doing what we're doing. And, you know, again, we've got some amazing clients. We've got clients that we've had for 10 years, and I am so proud to say that. I've got staff in, like, I've given partnership away to staff. So Faddy, who you know, who I adore,
wicked, yeah.
Faddy is
in his BMW.
Yeah, Faddy in his BMW.
I love his BMW.
Faddy started as a creative for me, and he had a creative director, and his creative director went on holiday, and his creative director showed me that Faddy was doing all the work. So I let the creative director go, and I gave Faddy the job, which no one had done that for him, and he just got stronger and stronger after that. And he is he's just such a good mate. Even when I had my daughter and I came over here, she wasn't very well, and he was straight in there with me in hospital. He was going into the room to scan her lungs and do all of those things. Like he's such a great guy.
Awesome. But very quickly, just to circle back to your health scare, how is that a scare or? So
it is a scare. I have they've just diagnosed me with a thing called endometriosis, which actually does run in the family. So yeah, I've been suffering from a bit of chronic pain. I've been to A&E a few times with suspected appendicitis. You never show these things. You know, you're all smiles and whatever else, and to be honest, like some of my staff don't even know, but. I'm going to have surgery in January, and I know I've got the team to help support. I had a really tough birth. I had a really, really shitty birth. Not the story that you want to tell anyone who's about to go into labour, but I had an emergency C-section and I got a paralysed bowel and intestine. So I had to have my stomach pumped. And then I got rushed back in again with a haematoma. So I was in hospital for a whole month. And when I came out, I basically... for the first 2 weeks, learnt to walk down the stairs again, and then I would walk to the end of the block, and then I'd walk slowly to the next coffee shop, and then to the next, and so I built myself back up over those 3 months. And it was the first time someone had really taken away my power, my control. I couldn't fix it, which was driving me up the wall, and I had to rely totally on the team. And it was the first time and the biggest lesson I ever had to stop micromanaging, because I just had to let it go.
Okay.
And it was brilliant. And ever since then, they just do what they do. And why we've been able to build Katch to 52 people is because I've got, Dara, who heads up on the lifestyle side, and I've got Petra, who is our regional director, and everyone does what they're supposed to do and so well, and keeps that family ethos that it doesn't matter if I'm in Timbuktu, the agency still runs and it's still doing what it's doing. Not that I go to Timbuktu.
I've got like 1,000 questions, but I think maybe what I'd like to know is when you were in the MRI machine and you had that, because I've been in one, right? You put the earplugs in,
it's like
and you can, it's booming noise. But I think the most messed up thing is when you go first in it, you look at it and you go, okay, cool, I'm going to lay down for half an hour. But when you actually go in it, it's here, and you can't move and you almost feel like, I know, it feels uncomfortable.
Breathe in, hold, breathe out. I can hold my breath normally. For some reason in that machine, I couldn't. I was like, I'm going to die, I can't breathe. Like, you just get yourself so overwhelmed. But that's what I was saying. Like, I was 10 minutes in and I was like, I can't be scared anymore. Like, I can do this. But I did.
Well,
I went into
this is what I wanted to ask. Is that luckily enough, I wasn't in one for, suspected cancers or anything like this. It was something else. But like, what were you... So how did you process this fear point where it manifested? Like you said, it's almost like you went in one person, half an hour later, you've come out with a completely different ideal on life. And so what were the main points that went through your head sort of when you were in the machine?
So I do have this thing where, like, I was thinking about this. So I used to like abseiling, and I'd get to the edge of the building and I'd be like, I don't want to do it. And then I'd be like, no, I'm going to do it. Like, I'm not going to let fear stop me. Same as the singing thing. Like I was saying to you, like, I don't want to do it, but then I'm like, I've got to do it, because if I don't do it, I'm going to be really annoyed with myself. And that's the same as this. It was like, no, I'm not going to do this. And also, I was on the edge of like, because the results were not looking good. I was like on the edge of like, if it is, I'm going to fight this. Like, you cannot believe. Like, a family member of ours has got cancer, and I've never seen anyone fight so hard and work so hard. I am so utterly proud of him for what he has done and how he has fought it. My older sister, she fought so hard for 3 years, like unbelievably for 3 years. She just got too weak, and it was too strong. But I've never seen someone so determined to do things. Like, she was supposed to trek in Peru, and I ended up doing it, sadly, because her cancer came back, but she still did the journey on the train, because that's my sister. She was just so determined. We are a very determined family. I'm sure you've seen on LinkedIn. But yeah, so it's one of those...
You're very honest and you're very blunt, and I love it. It's nice to see people like speak their minds. Can I ask? You say you're a very determined family. I mean, Did that come down from your parents, or like when you were very young, or sort of? As I said to you outside, I love like the young bit, because it's like I think we all forget that there's these key moments, positive and negative, that you kind of unless you can really reflect, you don't go, oh wow, like yeah, no, that actually was from that moment. Like, do you look back at your early child, like 10 and under, and think these were some moments that shaped me, or?
Oh, but there's been so many moments. So my parents divorced when I was 6.
Okay.
So there was Catherine, Steph, and I, and Benny joined us later, and we were so independent, you know. So on weekends we would go to Dad's, and Catherine would help brush my hair. I was 6 years old. Steph was 3. We'd all really look after ourselves, you know. Sometimes we'd get on flights on our own to go and find Dad where he was or what he was doing. My mum is utterly amazing. So my mum took Spiral Cellars, a wine cellar company, from a coffee table to a big business, and she sold it when my sister got ill. But when she divorced my dad, she had 3 jobs. So she was a lecturer at Syracuse University, she was working on a marketing piece, and she was running Spiral Cellars. If we were sick, we would be, my sister was telling this story the other day, she was in the back of the car with a sick bowl because mum had to go to work. Like, that's who we were as a family. You know, we were all in, like, let's do it together. Let's, and it was brilliant. And we were this close-knit girls thing. So it was mum, Catherine, Steph, and I. Like, we were just really, really close. And then my mum met her husband, who's also in media as well, and we became a bigger family unit, which was amazing. But we went through so much. Like, Dad was very big in advertising. He hung around with some, you know, big people. We were in situations where, you know, we had Branson's party and things like that.
Okay.
So, you know, my life was very, very different. And then suddenly, like, when they divorced, and then Dad went and lived abroad, and then with mum, I moved in with my stepdad, and then my sister got ill when I was 18, like literally 2 days after my 18th birthday. And then our whole life just was thrown into this kind of, what is going on? But we've just always been just so super close. Like, my mum, she's got this sixth sense. She just knows when something's wrong. Like, I could break something and hide it, and she'd walk in and just know. She just knows. She's like, how have you worked that one out? So, but we're so, like, my mum's my rock, absolute rock. And, you know, Dad had his advertising agency, mum had her business, and we are all so dependent and independent because of that. Like, we understand media, we've grown up in marketing, but we've also seen them do it. I've seen what it takes from a coffee table to a, like, I've never seen a woman work so hard, and I'm so utterly proud of her.
So do you think that in the early days of your career, you were emulating her with your directness and, you know, going, like, the job that you got let go of? Like you say, you're growing up in a household where everyone has their own businesses. Do you know what I mean? So that just must have been...
I got the most amazing opportunity to set up the agency. So basically, one of my clients offered to pay me up front for a bit of time. And so I had enough money to do it. And when my sister passed away, she had a few regrets. Like, you know, I want to get married, I want to do this, I want to do that. And it went very quickly. And I just didn't want to have any regrets. So this is what I was saying to you. The reason why I gave it the biggest kick up the bum, Katch, was because in the first 6 months, I think I was a bit complacent, if I'd be really honest. You know, I was doing London Fashion Week and all of this stuff, but we were spending a lot. I took a ridiculous size office. I hired a ridiculous amount of staff. I didn't start small. And my mum and my sister came to me and were like, oh, I think you should go back to your job, George. Like, this is not working. You know, you've given it a go. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to prove you wrong now. And I just went for it. And so actually, that's why I think I really was like, no, someone just told me I can't do it. Now I'm going to do it. And then I shrunk the office from this beautiful sized office to a 2-desk room and had like four chairs around, and we went for it and we turned it around and we won. Like, it was crazy. We won Barclays Wealth, and we took them at the time, obviously, when we were allowed to work more with Russia, but we took them to Russia. When the retail side was coming out, and I was like, who would have told me 6 months into my agency I'd be working on a project like that? It was insane. And then I worked with Renault Lotus Formula One. which was like, this is crazy. And I don't think I even realised when I was in the situation how utterly amazing it was.
You're just taking it all day by day.
Yeah, it's like when I look back at it and I see like pictures of me on the Ren Lotus boat, I'm like, I would love to go on that boat now. Now that I've watched it survive to drive, or whatever, I'd be like, oh, that'd be amazing. But like, I just had no clue. I was in this little bubble of like winging it. Like, that's what I was trying to say to you. And then it was only until my sister and my mum were lovely, but they were like, Georgie, like, this is not going to work. Like, your financials are just not there. And I was like, right, let me prove you wrong. And then the next thing I know, I'm here. It was crazy.
And do you think you're still winging it?
No, I think I do know some stuff. I would hope so.
I don't mean that in a... Because, look...
I feel like I'm winging it as a mum. I do feel like I'm winging it as a mum. I haven't read any of the books. I haven't done the weaning. I haven't done the sleeping. I love my daughter. She's amazing. And she's done so many flights with me. But she has to work to my routine. So I do feel like as a mum, I wing it a bit. Because I'm like... You know, I'm definitely not one of those mums who are like, this is what you have to do.
But I mean, in the sense of when you watch this back, okay, like you have just given so much content about your life, everything you've been through, everything. So it's more like, is long-term business still that kind of winging it structure where it's like, you've got to try and be safe, but you've got to go after things. So you've still got to take risk, even though your knowledge goes up and your experience goes up. So you become more settled in what you're doing, but then complacency can kill it. So you've always got to be looking. And like you said, you know, you open so many different ideals and ideas that do you still, what I mean by the question is like, it's not a lack of experience question. It's more like, do you still feel that inside there's that not much has changed? You're just dealing with it on a bigger scale, but you've still got the same core strategy, which is I'm just going to jump in there and swim and maybe not and figure it out. And so there is that element of, like I said, winging it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, so...
It's like winging on a grand scale. You know
I think the one thing like about winging it is you don't know. My whole thing is if I don't know, I will learn. Like, I am rubbish at maths, like absolutely rubbish. So if a mathematician comes to me and says, I need you to learn code, I'll be like, right, mate, I'm going to introduce you to another agency. However, most things, I love learning. I love learning new things. I've really loved learning about wellness and longevity and the science. And even that, I was talking to you about wellness washing. It's happening already.
Yeah.
You know, it's crazy. And I can see where it's going. I can see how to make brands work. And I can see where agencies are already going wrong. But I didn't know. I know my dad has an alternative cancer charity, and so I know a lot about alternative. And even me, like as soon as I had that scare, I was like, you know what? I'm not taking any dairy, no rapeseed oil. I'm trying to eat organic meats. Like straight away, I go into that. But I didn't know enough, so I had to learn. But now I think I know enough that I could write really good strategies for people.
Well, you know, when it comes to that term of washing, do you know what I mean? Because we did have that phone conversation where you're going off about it, and I think I was as well, because it's happening. I've heard it on so many...
Oh, it's happening so
sort
much.
of greenwashing, wellness washing, adversity washing, you know, all this sort of stuff. And I did want to ask you, just from a PR perspective, is that you don't use your history as a tool of the adversity tool. Do you know what I mean? Which is, look at all these things I've been through, you know. And I wonder, like, and if I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong. I'm happy to be wrong, you know, always, maybe sometimes. But it's more like, is there too much adversity washing? You know, like adversity, authenticity, everyone has to have had a thing that they've been through. And some people have been through some crazy stuff, because I think we all have on some degree. Like everyone's life is terrible inside their own head. Do you know what I mean? Because they're the ones that are living it. But do you think that personal branding and PR and everything has turned into sort of, how do I say that thing really, because I'm probably going to get cancelled, but it's like, you know, overplaying things that are overplaying things that you just kind of get on with and everyone's going through in order to almost go, look how hard I've had it, you know, and now I've come out the other side. And it's
like the opening of X Factor, isn't it? It's like there has to be a balance between genuineness and story.
That's a good way of putting it, yeah.
And I think some people some people choose a subject and they hang on to that subject and they hang on. Like one of the things, like Katch is named after my sister Catherine, and I do tell people, but I don't tell people every single day. Like there's staff that are going to watch this and go, I didn't know that. But,
yeah, exactly.
It's for, if I want to tell the story, I want to tell the story. If I don't, I don't. But I think some people maybe use the situation a little bit more. But then also, like, from a PR perspective, so if you have a celebrity and something bad happens in that celebrity's world, their PR will tell them to use it. Like, I can't tell you that in marketing, it's so similar. It doesn't matter what subject you do, and I'm sure we've probably got every marketing agency agent going, what is she talking about? Of course you have to be experts in this. But it's still the same rule, okay? Like, overuse something, people get bored of it and they stop believing the genuineness of it. But if a subject comes out or you see a certain element of something you like, and then that person decides to write a book and whatever, and has that audience, then that works for them. But I do agree that we jump onto a buzzword, and right now it is about longevity and wellness, but that's here to stay because of what happened with COVID. Like, everyone is much more health conscious, and that is what's going to keep happening. Wellness washing, I think, will become a bigger term. I'm really hoping, I think like what Bionic is doing, where they're coming here and they're going to, potentially open a space and you can check your bloods and then you can write a program and actually help people. It all comes down to, if you take a vitamin for a month, that vitamin might not be good enough for you the following month. We can't just rely on this magic pill that's going to fix everything. But by saying longevity and wellness, like I wrote a piece on LinkedIn. Did you see it? It's like, this is not death becomes you. You're not going to drink this magic black juice and look young. You're either going to have to do a Kris Jenner and have some amazing facelift and look younger than your daughter, which I'm not sure I agree on that one, but, all to their own. Or I'm not going to take collagen and suddenly look 15 years younger. It might help, but I'm just saying, like, that everyone's looking for this magic fix.
I don't even like.
We jumped.
No, it's not bad because again, it's again. So I don't know. Okay, so to close off the adversity thing, it's like I personally feel, okay, so I'm happy to say it's like woke is dead, done a lot of good, but now it's come to an end, and that's that. But I do think that, as you got targeted, through your professional life about everything you were doing, the mob is going to have to start looking in other areas. And I think with AI, I said this to you on the phone, where I think with AI and I think with everything going online and filters and this and that and everything like this and everything, the Kris Jenner thing is actually really, really interesting, you said, because she's come out looking like Kim and it's bizarre. It is bizarre, right? But then I saw a video popped up on my feed of somebody going, it's Photoshop. And even if it's a video, don't believe what you're looking at. It's film and everything. So there in itself is not whether it is or it isn't, but that's a direct example of whatever she looks like, people are now saying what you're looking at is not real, right? Or it could not be. And so therefore, is everyone going to start to zone in on going, you're not who you say you are. You didn't go through that. Here's another one that should be, there's another one that said they had a medical issue but didn't have a medical issue for that long. Here's someone that said they had, I don't know, anything. And here's we spoke to the doctor. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And what I'm trying to sort of say to people is not watch out, ha. It's more like be real, because people could really start to come after you if you are trying to turn the dial up a little bit on the fact you had a headache once, but you want to tell everyone you had a brain tumor. Do you know what I mean? It's like this. And that's kind of where that sort of comes from. But again, one of the other things I did actually want to ask is, okay, I've just totally had a splurge there and just kind of lost my train of thought. I had a moment, but I wanted to get it off my chest because I do think it's a really important thing for people to grasp, that the faker everything becomes, the more people could start calling you out for it, which does actually allow me to segue, because we're coming to the end of this, where something I did want to ask you that's very, very like future related now, which was your post on the AI thing.
Yeah.
Because you were like, I'm never really like gobsmacked, but
I was gobsmacked.
And I'm a bit of I kind of err on the side of like, I don't know if that's a good thing or not. So the guy created.
He's created Twin AI, and he has uploaded 30 years of his research into this AI. And we went on this call. And again, I was like, here we go again. I'm going to have to put some VR goggles on and, all this stuff. And we go in and he said, would you like to talk to my twin AI? So I did. And he's him. All right, he speaks a little bit slower. But it was unbelievable. And I said to him, are you scared about going on stage? He said, no, I don't get nervous because I don't have emotions. But how amazing, and I was thinking about this, how amazing is it that, for triage, you could have doctors upload all of their research and you can go to them and say, my child's got a temperature, this is what's happening, what should I do? You need to go to a pharmacy, you need to go to a doctor, you need to do this.
Yeah.
We could actually help medical systems like in the UK have a solution which takes away that pressure. Lawyers, you could have lawyers create something where I don't have to go to a lawyer and pay 350 quid plus VAT to ask a question. I can ask their AI for half the money and then work out if I need to go to a lawyer, because it's getting to a point now where information is money, but more and more of us want a solution where we can understand what our problem is or what do we need to solve it. So I am excited. And I do think after meeting him, I just love the idea of being able to train an AI. So you could literally have like Georgie AI sitting here if I couldn't be here. And they might be a bit more careful with what they say though.
Was there any part of it that you thought, because again, PR marketing and everything, so it's such a, like I say, it's not really a buzzword of the now, but it's the conversation of the now, which is like, where is everything going to be in 5 years? Like, when you saw that, did you think, because you're like the first person I'm speaking to that's really seen something AI where you've gone, okay,
I'm going to do it for you. I'm going to set it up for you to have the call, because I tried to tell my team, and then I said to the doctor, I said, can we set up a call with the team? Because the team need to witness it themselves rather than me telling them. And that's all I can say. Until you go in and you witness it and you have a conversation with this AI twin who can do a Q&A and not pause or anything, that's unbelievable. It's scary. I agree, it's scary. How far can it take? Where's it going to go? But I believe if there's certain gaps in the industry and it can solve a problem, I don't want to take people's jobs, but if it means our medical and health system can be better, or it means our legal system can stop overcharge. I'm not saying all legal, but like the guy who's getting divorced and just needs a bit of advice on how to handle the situation is able to do that by talking to an AI lawyer.
If you can be sort of saved and helped in any industry, then all good. Do any of your team come to you and go, can I have some job reassurance for the next 5 years when it comes to creatives? And I ask all marketing PR people. I had an SEO guy on here, James Reynolds, who's really, really cool. I asked him the same question. Like, is the workforce starting to ask, where are we going to be? Or do you think like that? Or do you just see it? How do you see it? Like, as a business owner? Sorry.
I am dyslexic, as we know, and AI has helped me so much. Like, all I do is say, have I spelt this correctly? But like now I spell things correctly and it's great. But I think we've got to find a balance. And I was actually talking to my team today about this. I want to do some AI training because I don't want us to rely on AI. I want us to utilize AI to make us better at what we do. That's all I want to do. I don't want us to take minutes if it means we don't read the minutes properly. It's got to have a proper system.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point.
And it's the same as copywriting, right? So they created a new job called pointers. So you will have AI do the copywriting, but pointers are real people that go in and turn AI back into human writing. So jobs will be made by AI. How mad is that? We haven't got any pointers. We don't do that at the moment. But I'm just saying, like, it's here, it's growing, it's going to get bigger, it's crazy. But if it helps and it means I can, like, I love people who have got ADHD and dyslexia because they can do so much more, but it doesn't mean that they're the most amazing writers. But if AI can fix that problem, then I am so open to having an office full of people who can do that. You know, that's my whole thing. And before that, like you wouldn't tell, sorry, not the microphone. You wouldn't tell anyone you're dyslexic. It's like, I'm not going to tell anyone. I remember when they found out I was, you're dappy. Yeah. Oh, I got a card from my mum saying, congratulations, you're not just dappy. And I was like, but now I get it. Now I understand what I can do with that. And, you know, most entrepreneurs have some kind of element like that. So I think that's quite important.
Oh, fantastic. No, I get it. Like, I like to ask because I don't always have business owners. I have lots of different people come on. So it's always interesting to get their perspective on it. But also, we've come to the end. My watch has
has that been 50 minutes?
My watch has just vibrated and it's told me it's over. So
wow.
It's gone quicker.
That's gone really quick. That was good.
But I always like to ask, like, sort of the last question, or is, out of everything that you've done and been around and seen, if there's one thing that you could tell sort of anybody watching about starting a business, going into what you do, going through what you've been through, what would your one phrase be?
Owning a business is like dating. You'll have a honeymoon period and then you'll ask a few questions. It's so true. And always have a bottle of wine in the fridge.
Okay, on that note, we'll leave that there. Georgie, thank you so much for coming in. I wish you all the best. I'm really glad to hear that your health scare was a scare and that it's not going to get worse, only better. So thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.